Hello dear viewers, welcome to another lesson in this educational channel which is intended for secondary students. In this lesson we are going to talk about some grammatical points which are in Unit 9 from Module 3. We are going to talk about the passive, compound nouns and collective nouns. So please, if you want to learn about these things, stay with us after this short break. Welcome back, dear students. In this lesson, we are going to talk about the passive, collective nouns, and compound nouns. So please prepare a notepad and a pen so that you can take notes and follow with me in this lesson. Let's start with our first item, which is the passive. Okay? Now the passive, we need to talk about its form and its meaning. Why we use the passive and how we use it. Concerning the form, we use the verb to be plus past participle. And as its use, we use it to focus on the action. Sometimes we need to focus on the action itself, not on the person or the thing that did it. This is why we use the passive. Now let's look at the form. We have the verb to be plus past participle. Remember, the conjugation of the verb to be is like this. In the present simple, we use is, am, or are. The present continuous is, am, or are plus being. Present perfect have or has been. Past simple was or were. And past continuous was or were being. And past perfect had been. Future simple will be. So we are going to use some of these forms in the coming explanation. So remember the present simple, the present continuous, and the form of the verb to be. Okay? We need the verb to be and the past participle. The past participle, for each verb, especially with irregular verbs, we have the infinitive, the past tense, and the past participle. So we are going to concentrate on the third column, which is the past participle of each verb. For example, be becomes been in the past participle. Become becomes become. Break, broken. Build, built. Buy, bought. Find, found. And make becomes made. In this lesson, we are not going to talk about the past tense. Okay? You can use it in other situations. So remember, we have the verb to be plus past participle. Okay? Now, let's see how all these things work together in forming the passive. I'm going to give you an example and how it changes into the passive. Now, let's see our example here. The police arrested the thief. First, you need to identify the parts of speech in the sentence. For example, here we have the police, which is the subject, and the verb arrested, which is the verb, and the thief is or functions as an object in this sentence. Again, you need to identify the tense of the sentence. Here, arrested is in, yes, the past simple. So we are going to use the verb be in the past simple, which is was or were, and then take the past participle of the main verb, which is arrested. As you can see here, arrested takes an ed. It means it is a regular verb, so the past participle remains the same. That is, a verb plus ed. When changing the example from active to passive, first we omit, usually we omit the subject if it is not important, or if it is obvious in the sentence, or simply we do not want to mention the subject. And then we start with the object, and then the verb becomes be, as I said, be plus past participle. So the object comes first, it becomes the thief, and then be in the past simple plus past participle becomes was arrested. And the final passive sentence is the thief was arrested. Of course, the police here is not needed because we understand that the thief was arrested by the police, not by other people. Another example, we have keyhole surgery saves many lives. Again, you need to identify the parts of speech, and here we have keyhole surgery, which is the subject, and then saves, which is the verb, and then many lives, which is the object. Again, depending on the importance of the subject, we either omit it or we keep it at the end. For example, here, surgery, first we start with the object and then the verb, and if the subject is important, then we need to mention it after the word by. So, object, verb, and then by subject. And the sentence becomes many lives, and here saves is in the present tense, so be becomes is or are, plus past participle. Save is a regular verb, so it takes ed. So we say many lives are saved by keyhole surgery. Here it's important to mention the subject because what saves lives? We need to, is it medicines, doctors, or surgeries? And what kind of surgeries? Keyhole surgeries are saved, or many lives are saved by keyhole surgery. I hope it's clear now. And now we move to more examples in the passive. Look at this one here. We have prominent Arab filmmakers held a 5-day film festivals. I'm going to guide you with this example, but later on you will be able to do it on your own. So here you need to identify the parts of speech first. Prominent Arab filmmakers is the subject, and held is the verb, and the 5-day film festival is the object. Again, we start with the object and then the verb, and we decide on the subject whether to mention it or not. And the sentence becomes a 5-day film festival, which was the object in the original sentence. Was held is the formation of the verb. Held becomes was held by prominent Arab filmmakers, because it is important to mention who held the festival. It is prominent Arab filmmakers, not other parties or people. Now it's your turn to change this sentence from active to passive. The sentence says, they screened their films in 3 competitive categories. Again, find the object, find the verb, and decide whether to mention the subject or not. The subject is they are unknown, so it's clear that you are not going to mention the subject, but the verb is screened. It is in the past simple, so you need the verb to be in the past simple, that is was or were, and then their films is the object. So we start with the object and becomes their films were screened in 3 competitive categories. Again, as you can see here, we have object becomes subject and then the verb. Okay, some more practice on the passive. Okay, so please try to do this one. Commentators characterize the films as being thrilling. So what is the object, what is the subject, and what is the verb, so that you can make the passive sentence. This is the subject, this is the verb, and this is the object. So it becomes the films are characterized as being thrilling. Great? All right. Now it's your turn to do this example. Some local authorities in the United Kingdom are introducing speed cameras as a way of preventing motorists from driving too fast. Again, it's your task to identify the subject, verb, object, and then start with the object. So your sentence is, I give you a few seconds. All right. Have you managed to do it? Okay, let's see. Fine. Speed cameras are being introduced by some local authorities in the United Kingdom as a way of preventing motorists from driving too fast. Okay? Is it easy now? Okay, with more practice, things will become easier and clearer. They are installing speed cameras on busy roads. What is the subject, verb, and object? They is subject, are installing the verb, speed cameras is the object. So we start with, yes, speed cameras. Excellent. Speed cameras are being installed on busy roads. Are being, this is the present continuous of the verb to be, because the original sentence has the present continuous. Are installing becomes are being plus past participle installed. Next sentence, the courts are increasing fines for dangerous driving. So where is the subject, verb, and object? They, the courts, are increasing fines. So you start with fines. Fines are being increased for dangerous driving. Okay? You see, things are not that difficult. Another example, judges are sending motorists who cause serious accidents to prison. So judges is the subject, are sending the verb motorists, but motorists who cause serious accidents. So it becomes motorists who cause serious accidents are being sent to prison. Of course, you can add here by judges if you think it is important, but in this case, it's not needed. Another example, 2 days before the competition, they take TV cameras and other equipment to the stadium. We have 2 days before the competition is a time indication, so it's neither a verb nor an object. They take TV cameras. So they is the subject, take is the verb, TV cameras is the object. So we start with TV cameras and other equipment. This is the whole object, TV cameras and other equipment. Yes, are taken to the stadium. Excellent. How about this one? They spent 2 whole days preparing for the match. They spent 2 whole days. So we say 2 whole days, yes, are spent preparing for the match. Excellent. Another one, they test all the equipment carefully. They test all the equipment. So it becomes the equipment and then the verb to be in the tense of the verb here. They test is the present, so we use be in the present, is or are. All the equipment is tested carefully. We are going to see why equipment here takes a singular, not a plural, but in the coming section of this lesson. One last example to make sure that you are comfortable with changing sentences from active to passive. It says, one day on the day of the match, the program producers give the commentators and cameramen their final instructions. So it's up to you now to do this example. Yes? Okay, fine. On the day of the match, the commentators and cameramen are given their final instructions. Excellent. I hope you are now comfortable and have clear instructions on how to use the passive, and time to move to the next part of this lesson, which is collective nouns. Collective nouns are what we call, as I mentioned earlier, the word equipment is a collective noun. So why does it take is and not are? So first let's match these words with their correct definitions. I have here words and definitions. Audience goes with which definition? Class, crew, family, government, and staff. So the word audience goes with which one? Yes, please? Fine, excellent. All the people who listen to a speech or a concert is called audience. Class can be described as, yes, students who are taught together. class or students. And then we have crew, all the people who work on a ship or a plane. And family, people who are related to each other. And government, people who make laws for a country. And the last one, staff, all the people who work in a particular organization. If you look at this table here, it's clear that the words on the left are, what can we say about them? They are all singular nouns: audience, class, crew, family, government. Whereas on the other side, all the words are plural. All the people, all the people, students, all the people, people. So a collective noun is a noun which is singular but can mean plural noun. In this case, if you say, my team is going to win the cup, it is singular. But if you say, my team are going to win the cup, it is plural. So a collective noun is a noun which can be used either as singular or as plural. If you say, my team, you talk about the collective noun, that is all the team as one entity. Whereas if you say, my team are, you mean the members of your team are going to win the cup. So when it comes to collective nouns, we can either use the singular or plural. They are both correct. Fine? Okay. Now let's move to the next part of our lesson, this time which is compound nouns. Compound nouns, it means nouns or two nouns which form one part of speech. Example, now here we have a description of compound nouns. They are words that can be combined to form a compound nouns. These are very common in English. In English, we use a lot of these compound nouns. And they normally have two parts. Okay? The second part identifies the object or person in question. Man, for example, tongue, table, room. The first part tells what kind of object or person it is or what its purpose is. For example, we have police, water, dining, and bed. We can say police, man, water, tongue, dining, table, etc. Okay? Another table illustrating the meaning of compound nouns. First, let's talk about how they are written. They can be written as one word. For example, policeman, originally it is composed of two words, police and man. But when you write it as one word, policeman. Bedroom, again, it is composed of two nouns, bed and room. But they are written as one word. Or they can be written as two words joined with a hyphen. You can see it in a different color. Dining table. There is a hyphen between the two nouns. Or as two separate words, as the example, fish tongue. Two separate words. So either as one word or joined with a hyphen or separated. Whether they are written as one word, two words, or two separate words, you need to check the dictionary to see the right spelling. Now, notice that the stress is on the first part of a compound noun. Right, now please listen and repeat. Okay? Pay attention. Remember, you need to focus on the stress.
A.
Shopping centre.
B.
Post office.
C.
Railway station.
D.
Department store.
E.
Car park.
F.
Travel agent.
Fine. Now you see that the stress is always on the first word. We say post office. That is, we give more emphasis to post than office. Okay? Now, the same exercise is going to be done this time in sentences. You are going to hear sentences and repeat after the speaker. All right? Now let's see the examples. Here we have, are you going to the post office? And focus on the compound noun. So please, again, listen and repeat.
A.
Are you going to the post office?
B.
Where's the nearest car park?
C.
Can you tell me the way to the railway station?
D.
Is there a department store near here?
E.
The shopping centre is busy today.
F.
I'm going to phone the travel agent.
Excellent. Now, I guess you have noticed the difference between collective nouns and compound nouns. And we saw earlier the passive, right? Now, let's move to something else. This time you are going to complete a paragraph with blanks, that is, choosing words to fill in the blanks. Now, this is the list of our words, and this is our paragraph or sentences. Number one, the runway has finally been by a after laborious attempts and has been put in prison. So, the runway, patient, police officer, or arrested or parents, serves children, bringing up, shop assistant, doctor, criminal, treated, customers. Of course, the runway, we need a noun. So the runway, what? The runway, criminal, excellent, has finally been, and we need a verb, has finally been, excellent, arrested by a, we need a noun, and what is this noun? By a police officer, after laborious attempts and has been put in prison. Excellent. How about the next sentence? The of this clinic, his last, quickly before his urgent operation at the hospital. We are talking about hospital, so it must be doctor and patient and things like that. So the, yes, doctor of this clinic treated his last, what? Patient, excellent, quickly before his urgent operation at the hospital. Excellent. C, the of this department store, his, amicably. So the shop assistant, because we are talking about the department store, serves his what? His customers amicably. That is, in a friendly way. And the last one, Kuwaiti insists on the basis of developing their appreciation of human values. So Kuwaiti what? Kuwaiti parents, excellent, insists on what? Insists on bringing up, that is educating, their what? Their excellent children on the basis of developing their appreciation of human values. Excellent. This exercise, by the way, is taken from your student's book. So you can go back to your books and check the answers. That was all for today's lesson. I hope you have enjoyed it and have mastered the use of the passive. You have also understood collective nouns and compound nouns, and you are able to work with them in a comfortable way. Thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you next time.